December 7, 1941, 5:30 in the morning, 230 miles north of Rahu. 6 Japanese aircraft carriers turn into the wind. Engines are already warming on their flight decks. Deck crews move between rows of fueled and armed aircraft, while the first propellers begin cutting through the darkness. Within the hour, 183 aircraft will be climbing south toward Pearl Harbor. 180 miles to the south, the USS Nimitz is midway through a routine fleet exercise, running 2 Westinghouse A4W nuclear reactors, carrying an air wing that on paper can number as many as 90 aircraft, and operating exactly as any carrier would on any ordinary Sunday in 1941. Her crew has no idea what is 30 minutes from happening, neither does anyone else. That is the scenario. The Nimitz drops into December 7th as she is, standard peacetime posture, no war declared, no foreknowledge of what is coming. No one has warned her captain. No message from Washington explains why she is there. What actually happens? At 5:30 a.m., her embarked E-2D Advanced Hawkeye is airborne on a scheduled morning patrol. The same kind of patrol the real Enterprise flew that week from a carrier further out at sea. Its AN/APY-9 radar sees past the horizon in every direction, past 300 nautical miles. At that range, it does not just pick up a contact. It picks up the entire Kido Butai, 6 carriers, 2 battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, a light cruiser, and a screen of 9 destroyers, sitting 230 miles to the north. In a modern operations room, that picture reads as unmistakable. Under 1941 peacetime rules, it reads as almost nothing at all. A large unidentified fleet, no flag broadcast, no attack yet made, no war on the books. The Nimitz's commanding officer is looking at the same wall every American officer hit that morning. On the real December 7th, an Army radar operator at Opana Point on Wau spotted the same kind of formation on his scope, called it in, and was told by the duty officer, Lieutenant Kermit Tyler, not to worry about it. It was probably the flight of B-17s expected in from the mainland. The Nimitz's commander knows that story. He also has a fleet on his own scope that nobody told him to expect, sitting 230 miles from the most important American naval base in the Pacific. At 6 a.m. the first wave launches. 183 Japanese aircraft climb south, flying by compass and by the civilian radio signal out of Honolulu at roughly 10,000 feet. Their formations settle into position over the Pacific as the carriers disappear behind them. They have no radar. They do not know the Nimitz exists, and nothing about their flight plan is going to reveal her. The trigger, when it comes, is not a guess. 183 aircraft on a direct heading for Pearl Harbor stops, being ambiguous the moment the range closes. The Nimitz goes to flight quarters and launches her combat air patrol. Her FA-18E and F Super Hornets, vectored by the Hawkeye, are airborne before any Japanese pilot can see them. Their AIM-120D missiles reach out roughly 100 miles, more than 10 times the range of a Zero's guns. The Japanese are flying tight, level formations with no jamming and no warning receivers of any kind. Aircraft start dropping out of formation before a single Nimitz pilot needs a visual on the target. A missile does not need to be seen to work. The first wave, with almost 2 hours of flight time still ahead of it before it was ever due over the harbor, spends most of that window being cut apart by an enemy it cannot detect. Back aboard the Akagi, Vice Admiral Chuichi Nagumo has no radar of his own, only lookouts and float planes, and neither is looking 200 miles out to sea, where there is nothing to see. All he has is silence where contact reports should be. No distress call explains what is happening. No surviving pilot gives him a direction to search. At 7:05, with no reason not to, he launches the second wave on schedule, 167 aircraft into the same trap. While the second wave climbs, A Nimitz MH-60 helicopter working the outer screen picks up a submerged contact trying to work its way toward the harbor mouth. The same kind of contact the destroyer USS Ward actually engaged and sank that morning before the air attack even started. It is dealt with well short of the channel. It changes nothing about the outcome. It is one more thing Nagumo will never get a report on. By the time either wave could have reported back, Nagumo knows only that something has silenced 350 aircraft. The Nimitz's commander does not need an order anymore. Her EA-18G Growler jams Japanese ship-to-ship radio, cutting what little coordination the fleet has left. Her Harpoon missiles carry a 488-pound warhead in on a sea-skimming flight path at better than 500 miles an hour. Under the horizon, and under the guns of a fleet with no way to see them coming. Her LRASMs, with a range past 200 nautical miles, find their targets without a human eye ever guiding them in. The Akagi, at over 36,000 tons, has no defense built for a threat that did not exist when she was built. The Kido Butai's Zeros scramble to defend the fleet and burn fuel hunting an enemy they can never get a radar lock on, because they have no radar. Pilots circle above burning flight decks, searching empty sky for bombers that are not there. The battleships Hiei and Kirishima, the cruisers, the destroyers, all of it can fight back the instant something comes close enough for a 1941 gun to matter. Nothing ever does. It is not really a battle, it is one side firing on a target that cannot fire back. By early afternoon, the Kido Butai is gone. The Arizona never explodes. The 1177 men aboard her never die. The Oklahoma never turns over. The 2,403 Americans killed on the real December 7th are, in this version, still alive that evening. Pearl Harbor finishes the day confused, untouched, and staring at reports no one in 1941 has the language to explain. And the war that followed does not start the way anyone alive that morning thought it would. The Nimitz would not simply win the battle, it would prevent Pearl Harbor from ever becoming the disaster history remembers. Thousands of American sailors would survive, the Pacific Fleet would remain largely intact, and Japan would lose the carrier force it had spent years building before the United States had even officially entered the war. But stopping the attack would not stop the larger conflict. Japan would still be expanding across Asia, Germany would still be fighting across Europe, and the United States would now possess a warship decades beyond anything else on Earth. Every major power would want to understand it, copy it, or destroy it.